forward to this computer. All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be a little bit of a darker episode, but one that needs to be, I think, aired on Growing Up Alien, because Zoe and I, and I'm sure many of our viewers, were kind of amused by this video that came out of these Army fellows talking about aliens, and we're going to show that in a bit. But we want to do an introduction that kind of sets up our position. Everybody use discernment, but this is just sort of from our background knowledge and own personal experience concerning some of these kinds of behaviors. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Zoe, to talk about what possibly is not only MK Ultra, but negative reptiloid DNA influences.
Yeah.
Your first experiences with MK Ultra, and how does that affect you in your body? Because other viewers who may be holding this is what we want to do, is help people to come forward and heal or understand some of the behaviors that are not considered kosher in our society, but they're inside your body and you don't understand where they're coming from and why you're having these reactions. So I'll start with you, Zoe, and your experience with the secret space program.
Yeah. I'll try and stay in a line. I'll try my best, because I'm like a bit of ADHD. I have ADHD. I know we don't do labels down here, but I have to say that so you guys be like, "Oh, she's a bit all over the place." It's not drugs, I promise. It's ADHD. Anyway, so yeah, which is weird actually, because at the beginning you talked about it, I kind of went into a dissociative state, which happens sometimes when I talk about these things. So you have to excuse me if I feel like I'm zoning out, like I'm kind of in between that as well. And they mess with my memories and thoughts and things, which I'll get into.
Yeah.
So as a planet as a whole, every human has all been under some kind of MK Ultra, different severities of MK Ultra. So MK Ultra, in the sense of we've all been programmed to believe in certain fake truths and narratives, and so we can kind of follow this matrix reality that is dismantling, right now as we speak. So I just want to mention that as well. So it's not unique to certain people. Anyone is affected by MK Ultra, as I mentioned. We all are. But those that get affected more with the MK Ultra are those that are kind of like, like in Hollywood, like influencers. So basically, these groups, the CIA programs that operate these mind control programs, they basically program children, and not just children, but they do like to try and start from when they're very young, because it's easier. They program these children's minds with like the MK Ultra and stuff. So how they do it is through trauma. It's always trauma based, and it's easier for them to fragment the mind of the victim, and then they can kind of reprogram them with how they want, this influencer to influence the world in a negative way. And so like anyone can be affected, anyone in Hollywood, anyone that is in power, these elite governments, they're all MK Ultra puppets. And also groups of souls that are here, so volunteer souls, light workers, starseeds, whatever you want to call them, souls that volunteer to come down here for a big important mission to help break humanity from the MK Ultra that we've all been submitted to. It feels like we're all being placed under a spell. And so souls such as ourselves, and we are in Hollywood as well, we are in the government. So I just want to quickly mention before, that mention again, I have mentioned before in other videos. So if you want to check them out, check my my YouTube channel, Galactic Voyager. I do touch a little bit through many videos about MK Ultra.
Yeah, we're going to do folks to watch the you found this video on the link to Starseed Voyager, plus more of your MK Ultra experiences. And we want to definitely get people to subscribe there to get some great information. That's going to be very helpful for those who might think they're experiencing this.
So just quickly, not not all star seeds are positive. I think a lot of their intentions were positive, and then they come down here, and then immediately these groups, they've got technology, they've got the psychic abilities to know who in each every soul is. You know, they can tell what color light we have. They can tell what frequency we have. They can tell by many ways of who and what we are and why we're here. So we are targets. So they often like to use us as puppets. They use us in the military, the dark military. They use us in Hollywood. They use us in governments. They use us in any position of power, again, to brainwash us, I guess, MK Ultras, and then they use us as puppets, and they feed through lies, misinformation, and just basically rubbish to the masses, because the masses, the human ego mind, has this God complex, and they love to look up to those who they deem as higher and more superior. So humans are very easily influenced and programmed. So it's a form of program, just like watching a movie is programming your mind, listening to music is programming your mind. So anyway, let's move forward. It starts with trauma. So I bet a lot of you now who are coming into this awareness, understanding, you know, a lot of these MK Ultra victims have been subjected to some kind of abuse, whether that's satanic, sexual, emotional, psychological, you know, any kind of abuse. You know, but they've all got a story to tell, whether it started from home, whether it's because they were, you know, made to do certain sexual things from their music managers, you know, and they use it as like, well, if you want to be famous, then you have to do this and that. And there's a lot of manipulation and trickery, as well as, of course, there's grooming these children into making these children believe from a young age that, you know, adults having sexual desires towards children or doing sexual acts towards children is normal. And with that comes Stockholm syndrome, which is very, very important, because Stockholm syndrome, you know, a lot of these victims will be like, you know, yes, they might be aware that this abuse they went through was horrific and they didn't like it, but they always have this love towards their predators. It's like, oh, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for you, my life wouldn't be better. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to save my family and buy my mum a house. And, you know, it all ties in. And so that's the Hollywood side. Obviously, I'm not Hollywood, and I don't ever wish to be part of that. But many
Well, it's
starseeds
interesting that what you just brought up there, because all of this is completely normalized. The idea that, oh, you sleep your way to the top, and everybody laughs.
Oh, it's true.
I mean, this is such a filthy, hideous, perverse thing. It's just, and I think it's just the humanoid's reaction. I mean, I almost wonder if they were trying to create, or you mentioned in the DNA may very well be that, but you know, a negative reptilian caste and cultural system of complete, you know, violence and perversion, intimidation, competition, you know, and they literally have completely, if you talk to a lot of different people, and we're going to just show a little bit of that video today because they can watch the rest. I don't want that kind of filth on my channel. So we're just going to watch a little bit of that. But it's a complete normalization of dehumanization, of stripping of all nobility of the person. And it's really just disgusting. I think, you know, it's yeah.
I agree, it really is. And we're talking a little bit about it, you know, it's their nature, and this is why they highly favor those with their bloodline O. And I'm not going to say O negative because it's O period, whether you're positive or negative. There's some people that talk in depth more about that, because I know people are like, oh, it's only the O negative. It isn't. They target any blood group, but if they can talk they can target any blood group, but they prefer the O blood group, especially O negative. However, O positive is not exempt. They use them for other causes, for other means, but they use the O because the O has more of the reptiloid DNA. They understand these. I'm talking about these in these groups, these reptilians, you know, these beings that think they control the planet. They know and understand the human psyche, and they especially know and understand the reptilian DNA psyche, because takes one to know one, I guess that's the right phrase. But
it also makes sense if you want to start manipulating, it's easier to manipulate. That's got
yeah,
stuff you want. If you want to make an apple pie, you're going to put in an apple. It's like,
well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, they know they're easy to break down. That's what they do. They break them down, like in the military. You know, when in the training, they break them down. They're very in your face, screaming. It's trauma, it's abuse. They even bring up the traumas that these soldiers have been through. It's a way to break them down, to fragment their minds. It's crazy. So and the ones that get through it make the best soldiers, unfortunately, because they're just very, they're just easily controlled. But anyway, so yeah, going back to what we were saying. So I'm trying to think where to go from here.
Well, one of the things I think that, because we want to make it immediately usable to our viewers, is that what are some of the reactions that you have when, say, someone comes up behind you and touches you or surprises you? And
yeah, so as Andrea knows, just quickly, because otherwise you probably won't know what I mean, but so I am part of the secret space program, not willingly, not like, oh, look at me, I'm cool, trust me. It's something that I found out a long time ago, and that's been a journey in itself. Through manipulation, apparently I've signed contracts, which I won't get into that. I've done videos on my channel, but yeah, I'm struggling with my mind again. So what was the question again?
That's part of what it is. That's part of how it works. Because I have a similar thing.
Yeah.
You don't like the that's what it feels like. It's like kind of
it's like your brain crashes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you wanted me to tell you
if somebody, because this is like we both have a similar reaction. Like if somebody comes up on the shoulder, something like that, or
yeah. So through my experiences, they put me through many tests, and I'm part of the Delta program. I won't say any more on that, but if you're curious, just go on Yandex and type in MI5 Delta program. So they use me for that because there's different programs. Like I say, they use as puppets for different things. And I was doing it again.
I don't know. I know. That's what they do. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's just my mind.
So what you're saying, because you have the same reaction that I have. So if somebody, I can't be touched. Like my whole body seizes up, and I get it, and I turn into this. It's like an immediate, like if you were cornering a feral cat. If somebody, even somebody that I know well, like my brain separates from my body, and I immediately go into fight or flight. And if somebody that I even know touches me, I'm just like, I get into rage. It's like just it's like I'm not thinking anymore. It's just immediately, like if somebody hits me, like, and even if it's, I mean, that's Eeka starting to break it down for me. He's starting to do a lot of desensitization, reprogramming. It's like I even when I was little, like I remember this, like somebody comes up behind me and touches me. God, if they ever, like, I had a relative do that, like just like, hey, it's you. I'm like, I like lightning.
Yeah.
And I turned to them like I was gonna rip their head off. Like, and I'm like,
that's exactly what
trying to calm down.
Yeah, that's
there's a lot of people who are watching might maybe like, what's wrong with me? Because that's how you grew up. Yeah, there's something wrong with me because I'm like hyper vigilant and all these things, but no. So for me, I'm pretty sure it was abduction, which is why if I'm around anybody, like if I see a policeman, if I see like even school teachers, anyone that's in an authority sort of position, to me, I'm like right into fight or flight. Like my whole my body saying, I can't get away, I can't escape, I can't move, I'm in big trouble. It's like this, like just my body freezes up. And even though my mind's like, you're fine, my body's like, no, we're going to be in big trouble soon, fight, run. So I know there's probably, like I said, I'm sure some of our viewers are going to be like, oh my God, that was me.
Yeah, so what we were saying before, so I was showing, a couple of examples. So when I was younger, I was doing the pots, and my stepdad, he used to come up behind me and he used to poke me at the side of my ribs. And it was like a switch had gone. I didn't
Yeah.
even have time to think about my actions, and I immediately, like a switch, flicked around and I punched him in the face. And then after that, I felt shameful, remorseful. I was shocked. I was even shocked at myself. Like, whoa, that was not me. That was not me. That is not me. I'm not violent. I'm not aggressive. But it was an instant, reaction. And I cried. I said, I'm so sorry. I feel awful. And I remember his face was just like, whoa, are you okay? This
Yeah.
is not you. I was like, I know. So then anyway, I apologized, but I did say to him, I says, look, whatever you do, never creep up behind me, never touch me. And I even say to my daughter now, before you come into the room, make it obvious you're coming down the stairs and make a noise to pre-warn me. Because if you sneak up on me, oftentimes she does, I scream and my heart's racing, and that's like PTSD. So anyway, my stepdad did it a second time and a third time, and again I punched him. It's like a reaction. When I was younger with siblings, they used to do things, and they got harmed because it was just a switch, because we're wired and programmed for that. So going back to the Delta program, basically I'm like, sounds very cringy, but it's real. But basically, and I'm an assassin. It's part of the program. So we are trained to be very quick, when you're in, and it's like a switch. So it's funny how that carries through into my this life, as in me being Zoe, living this life. A lot of my experiences have come through and reflect in this life. I have, because I've been abducted, several times, and they're just the ones I remember. And me and Andrew was talking about, because of that, I have experience where they've tied me to a chair, they've injected me, I've had severe anxiety because of that, freaking out, and that's bred through, and it affects every area of my life. I don't like bright lights, I get triggered.
Yes.
Noises trigger me. I can't go to the dentist. I know not many people like dentists, but for me, it is severe than severe. Like the anxiety is insane, even more now, because they recently not long took me and did that, put me on a chair again to erase my mind, mess with my memories, is what they do. Whenever I start remembering more of my memories, they're doing a Kanye West on me, if you like. They take him, whisk him away, do whatever they do. He comes back and then he's mundane again. And then all of a sudden, Kanye's being weird because he's breaking out of that program. And I'm always forever breaking out, and they're always forever taking me back and messing me around. But yeah, so it really does affect us psychologically, mentally. It affects our relationships. I could go really deep, but that's just an example. But yeah, when we have those moments, and down here they'll call it, it's PTSD. They'll call it like ADHD, like you're hyper, because if you've got ADHD, you're hyper aware, you're hyper focused, you're hyper vigilant, too vigilant. And these are what they love in these military intelligence programs. They want people like that, because we make the best assassins, we make the best soldiers, we make the best undercover detectives, that we make the best of getting out of situations, dangerous situations. If we were to ever be in one, we're very sharp. We're trained that way, and it starts from a very young age. So I hope I've kind of filled everything about what we talked about. Sorry, I'm talking fast, because if I don't, while my brain's working, I feel like I just have to get the information out, otherwise I don't.
Yeah, I know. It comes in sections, and then you're like, oh, I got nothing. That's the same thing. It's
a nightmare. It's a struggle.
Well, for me, it ended up being like, and I still have this. I'm terrified of humans. I don't trust. I don't. And it's just, there's just something, and it frustrates a lot of like Terrans, because they don't understand. But it's just like, I don't like, it's just, there's something there that I can't. Actually, so as we lead into the video, we can mention something. Now, we're just speculating here, just from our own experiences and sensations. It's possible that there's some genetic reptiloid reveals here in this video on some of these individuals. I don't know. We're just speculating on that. But I noticed this, and I've talked to some other people who are envoys, that there's like, I feel completely safe around animals. We had a bear in the yard. I went right up to it. Like, it didn't bother me at all. Yeah. And like I don't have any fear of non-humans whatsoever. And I actually interact with them very, very freely and always did. They can touch me. Like an animal can come up and poke me and I'll just be like, oh, how cute, you know. But a human, even a member of my family does that, you know, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, I'm like, don't touch me, personal space. It's like, yeah, and I've always
Yes.
been that way as well. And I never understood why. Now I do. Now you do. Yeah, I've always been like that, even with my own children.
Right.
It's sad, you
Yeah.
know, not so
Yes.
much now, but when
Nope.
they were younger, or even partners, and they used to be
Oh yeah.
like, they used to say, "Oh, you're so cold. Why are you so cold?"
Because
And
you're
it's like, I'm
frightened.
not cold. I am affectionate, but it kind of has to be when I'm in the right energy, because otherwise I'm like, I get my body tenses, and I get it's
Yes.
almost like an instant anger. I freak out and I
Eeka.
get snappy, and I'm like, just, and I'll be fine. It's not like I'm stressed. It'll just be
No.
like, just don't come near me, don't touch me. You know, again, it's almost like that instant reflex thing. You know, we don't have time to you know, think before we speak. Land us in hot waters a lot of
Not,
the time,
it's
and not
not, it's not,
related.
right. It's just it's there. It's a spook
Yeah,
reaction. And it's just,
yeah.
but I pick up stuff, which is why, and I always say, of course, you know, I don't have a human relationship with a man because I can't. There's no
Mm,
way.
mm,
But even with Eeka,
same.
he understands me because I mean, there's just, you know, he has different DNA from a Terran. And
Mm,
he's helping me with some mind control. He has to use mind control and desensitization through touch, which that's actually moved forward quite a bit. But
mm,
I have to be mind controlled to erase this. It's not going anywhere. Because then you get all these
mm,
humans are like, oh, just do breath work, just do yoga. And they're like, it works great. Or just do some other kind of weirdo psycho thing that they're doing right now. Like it does not work,
mm,
you know? So,
mm.
but it's just humans. And I sense something. And I hate to say this, but I want to share it with a lot of our viewers. And I'm not talking about irregular Terrans. I'm here and you're here. Like I said, we're here to help people who have the same stuff we have step out from what they've been told about who they are and to
Mm,
heal and to understand that what you have in your body is a sense. So I feel something in a Terran. I don't notice it as much in the star seeds and envoys. I don't notice it as much. I also don't notice it as much in indigenous people, which is interesting. I haven't met every
mm.
indigenous person on the earth, so I can't say per se. Like I haven't met every
Yeah.
human, but when I generally meet a Terran, there's something in them that feels to me dark. I don't know how to describe it. And it isn't that they're a bad person because they're not, but there's just something
Yeah, I know what you
like a
mean.
latent inside, like I feel like it's inside their like sacral chakra around this area. There's something
Mm,
there. And of
definitely.
course
I
I
feel
feel it in
that.
I feel it in men. There's
Mm,
something in there that I don't like.
mm.
And it's
It's
just
the
like
human. It's
it,
sorry to say, but it's the human. That's
they
what
have to be.
you're picking up the you because we're obviously the type of souls we are. We can differentiate between a off-planet soul or
Yeah.
a Terran Earth soul. The energy never lies, you know,
Yeah.
and we pick it up, and it's just so different, worlds apart, quite literally
Oh yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
I think it's just the genetic makeup
yeah,
of
yeah.
Terran
Mm,
because that's just in their nature. And some probably have certain more lines of probably Anunnaki or reptiloid that I pick up on that is like
mm,
for me, I don't feel it in Nika or any off-planet people. When I telepath with off-planet people, I don't feel it there. It's not there.
mm,
It's this
mm.
darkness. It's
Yeah,
erratic. It feels like a weird. So what I get in my mind is this like almost electrical ball that's like that's moving like this inside them,
mm.
and it's erratic. And I think it makes them erratic. Like they don't
It's
realize.
almost like it controls them, isn't it? It's like they're being
Yes,
controlled. Yeah,
yes.
I know exactly what you mean, because I feel that, I sense that. It's like they're being controlled,
It
and they
glitches in
easily
the
get
mind.
very defensive as well. They're
Yes,
very
yeah.
defensive.
It turns on this like, yeah. Yeah, but I can feel the glitch happen. And I can see
Mm,
in their eyes, it's like they start looking at you and the glitch is
mm,
happening. and they're
almost like an
a
animal.
predator. Yes,
Like
like an animal. They turn into like that animalistic kind of like, and it's like, whoa, and I get like, ugh, and I like, and it's not I don't even know if they're aware. I think they're aware of the feeling. Because because then they start telepathing. I'm not mind reading. I don't want to mind read a person, but they start telepathing to me, and they start telepathing their like, it's almost like they've lost control. And it's not, and I can feel in their moods, they're like, I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid. I'm confused. I'm like, I'm very in my ego, but it's like, it's almost like
yeah. They can't interpret it. Like you said, they're well of the feelings, but they can't interpret. They don't understand. So that you can feel and sense
they
that
don't understand.
confusion,
Yeah.
that dissonance.
Yes. It's that
Yeah.
wild confusion. They don't even know who they are, really. It's
They
almost
don't.
like
They really don't.
something usurps. It's almost like a shapeshift, the way a reptiloid would shape. Like I almost expect them to turn into a Draco in front of me. It's like, is that energy? And
they have a powerful energy. You
very
can't
powerful.
mistake in a Draco. I'll give them that.
Well, it is very, and it's very powerful in the Terrans that have this energy. And I've talked to other starseeds, and they said, yes, it's like a psychopath inside them. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
that heaviness, that darkness.
oh,
It's
yeah.
nature of them type of beings. You know, humans have every human has reptiloid DNA. You have reptiloid DNA.
Yeah.
I have reptiloid DNA. We have the reptiloid ego mind, part
Yeah.
mind. I do.
Yeah.
But there's different concentrations, isn't they, of it? You know, and severities, if you like, you know, in their DNA and stuff, some depending on the blood type and the race, depending on how much reptiloid DNA they have. For instance, I know the Asians, China or Japan and that, they have high amounts of reptiloid DNA. This is why they have the dragon. That's why their dragon is the
well,
flag.
I always
symbol.
wondered about that. Yeah, okay.
And it's interesting as well because they only this is so weird, I think, but it makes sense. But on their resumes over there, their work resumes, CVs, if you're UK, they have to show what blood type they are. And so they favor the blood type O. They deliberately, if there's 10 people for an interview, they will pick the type O. It's a huge amount of.
Also seen almost all the cultures on Earth, not all cultures on Earth, but you see the suppression of the female as well. The objectification of the female.
Yeah.
And it's particularly in Thailand, some places like that, where they have this sex trait. And of course, I'm not taking out any race for sure.
Oh no,
they're disgusting. I mean, that's who's going there to get. So I mean,
it makes sense why they are the way they are. I mean, something as daft as they're obsessed with the domestic cats because cats have huge amount of reptiloid DNA. This is why they love them. It's like an energy match. They're just, and I love cats again because and that's what I think anyone could love cats, anyone could love animals, but we're drawn to certain animals. So for instance, if you're a Syrian soul, you will be drawn to the ocean, dolphins, mermaids, whales. You know, if you are Lyran, you might be drawn to cats, or even reptiloids, you might be drawn to cats and reptoid, like snakes and dragons and those types of things and stuff. So
I've always been drawn to. I have very tight contract ties to avians.
Yeah.
I'm drawn to prey animals. Actually, all the prey animals. I understand prey animals. I don't understand predator animals. I like cats. I don't understand them. I like all animals, but some like predator animals. I don't understand. All the prey animals I understand. But yeah, I mean, but I think and this might explain some of the behaviors that I'm going to pull up now in this video, so we can kind of just break down. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to play a lot of it. You can go on Starseed Voyager to watch their whole thing, and they saw next in all the places too. Just because I don't want that kind of that filth on my on my channel. But it's curious to see this unique behavior. And this happens to be males. You see, I'm not picking on men by any stretch. It's also relevant in females of the Terran species as well, where it's this deep, like I said, I hate to say animalistic because animals are different. They're not like this, but we'll use the term just for the ease of, it's an almost animalistic reaction. Because the minute the officer here, a sergeant, I'm assuming, I don't know, a sergeant, I will say that, mentions a female, this guy in the audience is like sex. Oh, can you have sex with it? Immediately. It's like,
Sexualizing it, everything.
where would that
Sexualizing
come? Like,
everything.
if
Yeah.
you mention to me like an Arcturian man, sex never enters the picture. I mean, I never ever think about, actually, I never think about sex ever being
Mm.
Pleiadian, even though we're like, we've turned it into love making and art form. I never
Yeah.
sex, but it's like
Yeah.
this guy just mentions these extraterrestrial beings. But even when the military, and this is why I don't link up with a lot of like MUFON and all that stuff. When they talk about extraterrestrials, the EBEs, it's like it's so like, let's turn this loving, feeling, thinking being into some sort of thing to study as a scientific experiment. Let's turn
Yeah.
it an EBE, a biological entity. Like
They're very predatory, aren't they? They're very
yes,
predatory. They
yes,
see
it's like
women as toys and profit and games, playthings.
right,
They're
right,
very perverted. They're very sexual. They're very
very
sexual
perverted,
entities, beings.
empty. Yeah,
Um,
it's just like it's just a biological response. Like you need a glass of water.
yeah, yeah.
Thirsty, I need a glass of water.
Mm,
You'll do. It's such a
mm,
pulse, but like I said, it's not. I don't think it's anything they can control, and that's the sensation I have. That's what bothers me so much about Terrans in general. Is it's a
mm,
behavior that's beyond their control. It's a biological need,
mm. It's
which
their nature. They can't control it. They
yes,
can't
exactly.
control their urges, their impulses. Even if some of them feel that it is wrong. For instance, talking about certain family members, I'm born into that bloodline.
yeah,
I've seen it face on, and it's awful. And they try and reach out and get help,
yeah,
but the family don't want to deal with it, and then they turn into predators.
exactly,
So
exactly.
some want help, some are aware of this, and some of them don't give two shoots.
No,
Shoots.
right,
And they just do it. They love it. It's empowering. It's about power and control. That's what it really is about.
yeah,
It's power and control. I like you're the victim. They play cat and
yeah.
mouse. I'm
Well,
I'm
they
this
enjoy it. I mean,
prey. They enjoy
that's
it
enjoy.
like
You
a cat,
know?
like a cat flipping a
Yes,
mouse around.
right.
And they love it.
Yeah. It's
So,
I had enough experience growing up. Like when I entered this body, I didn't have the full amnesia. So, for me, I was exposed to the Terran reptiloid behavior where so many other Terrans were all like, "Oh, don't you want sex? Like, don't you need that? Don't you want like any
yeah,
people will do, like, don't you want that?" And I'm like, "No, not at all. Like, oh, just settle because it's got a dick. That's all you need." I'm like, that's
I'm
to me,
still
that's more
listening. Carry on.
repulsive. I was like, I can't even, my body can't even process that kind of thought.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
no, I'm looking for love. I'm looking for a
yeah.
psychological, spiritual connection to another being that holds a resonance that
Mm,
complements the resonance I hold. Sex
mm.
is never an issue. I'm not no interest at all, at all. And then
Yeah, they're not.
they're like,
They're not the
oh,
romantic
yeah,
kind, are they? They're not
yeah,
the
of course,
romantic
yeah.
kind.
Then you have and then your brain, and I'm just doing this for people who are watching, who have probably gone through a similar experience where it's like, well, I don't want, and it could be, you can be, I'm not just saying being a female, but this also would apply to a man. It's probably worse for a man because if you're an envoy or a walk-in that's a male and you're not trying to mount every fence post in the neighborhood, and you're like, I want a woman that I resonate with, that develops me, that creates an infinity link of love. You're the weirdo.
Mm. I know, yeah. They've
And there's
inverted
something
it,
wrong
haven't
with
they?
you because you're not an animalistic slob who wants to jump every fence post in the neighborhood.
I know,
There's
yeah.
even the medical industry is like, oh, there's something, if you're not, sexually active by the time you're 3 and like ready to go at 15,
Oh, I
like,
know, yeah.
you must have a hormone deficiency. You need to be jumping every fence post. I mean, our medical industry promotes sex, like random anywhere you want it. If you're not like that, there's something wrong with you. It's like,
I
no,
know,
there's
yeah,
something wrong with you. You're a reptilian. Like,
yeah.
that's perversion. That doesn't happen upstairs. Well, there's some problems upstairs. I'm not gonna say it does. It does. There's all of the Terrans that are sold into the upstairs sex trade. Yeah, there's people up there looking for that. Let me just say this. Be careful, folks. Not everybody's wonderful. But I'm going to lead into the video. I'm going to screen share this, and we're going to just play a little bit and stop. And like I said, so let me pull this up. There it is. Share. Right. Ta-da! Look at this success. Ta-da! All right. Ta-da! Success. So so some folks probably have seen this. I'm just going to open this up here for a few minutes, and we'll...
Yeah.
Are these the aliens that you've seen?
That is not gray.
No, but
Which ones did you see?
yeah, these right here, the small grades have a little
They had a
filter
mouth? How do they breathe?
That exchange program that Steven Spielberg explained at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind was really close to
Draw a female up there because I want to skip out. Fuck it.
well, I don't know. They look the same.
I mean, but you can actually hear, actually for me as a telepath, you can actually hear, well, of course, I think he's a sergeant, I don't know, standing in front of the room. He's he should have, and I'm going to say immediately as someone who teaches in a university, this should have been addressed immediately. Why this guy?
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought that.
These people should be put before some sort of disciplinary action. There's a lot of red flags here, and this guy should have brought that up immediately, and certainly at least nipped it in the bud. But for these individuals in the audience here in this class, what I sense is a true perversion of humanity. I hate to say humanity, of the Terran being. There's they may very well have been, and this is my suspicion, they may very well have been MK Ultra.
Yeah, a lot of these, not all, but a lot of these military are of that bloodline.
Yeah.
And not only are they perverted, the other signs are they're very cold. There's no emotion. There's no empathy. There's no love. There's no sensitivity. There's this flatline cold-blooded, reptilian energy.
The guy says, "Oh, show me a female, see if I can fuck it." What?
I know. Yeah, it's like.
And this guy means it. It isn't like he's trying to be show off. Like he literally means
no. He means it. And he would.
He would. Absolutely. Well, he wouldn't.
They all would.
I was joking saying if he met up with a healthy Canadian female, he wouldn't be fucking anything ever again. And I showed this video. Yeah. I mean, I showed this video. This is why, by the way, many of the extraterrestrials, you'll see a large you'll see more male extraterrestrials here on Earth than females. This is why, folks. Earth Terrans are known for their grotesque and hideous behaviors. And there's no way that, well, from my planet, in the Hell culture, the female is, and again, all cultures are weird. I'm not going to stick up for them or anything. I think humanoid cultures are strange. But in my culture, there is a great respect for the female. And it's honored, the divine feminine. So what you see is the divine masculine, because you have a divine feminine. And there's a beautiful balance between the two. And the idea, and I showed this to Eeka, and he was just kind of walked away. He kind of, his heart, I mean, it's like, this is really disgusting. And I think we all think of our family members, and I just want to throw that out there to the Terrans who might be watching. It's like, can you imagine if this guy was talking about your daughter or your wife or your a woman friend that you have? Show me what she looks like. I'll see if I can screw it. I mean, it's like, come on, folks.
I mean, we've spoke about it. It's like, for instance, my family. So, if anyone in your family have got these behaviors, then you might want to check their blood type. Not always, because it could be, other reasons. It could be they've got an entity, a demonic entity attached to them, who's influencing, making them do things. But so for my family, because I'm born into that bloodline, and I won't go into details too much, but my family are highly perverted. The abuse, the incest, the openly, certain related family members, doing inappropriate things in front of families. I mean, families like at Christmas times, and you know, family members doing things to one another, and it's just absolutely insane. And I was brought up around all of that, and the thing is, I used to pull my mum up about it, like, mum, so and so's doing this, mum, so and so's doing that. Even my nan would be like, Ellen, go upstairs and sort out this problem. And problem, I'm talking about, you know, something really severe, like my, you know, sister, something happening to her, like real bad, you know, and then my mum comes back downstairs and she's like, yeah, sorted. You know, they tend to just brush it under the rug. It's almost like, you know, we don't say anything, it's just how it is, it's normal. It happened to her when she was a kid, and my nan when she was a kid, and it's gone way back, you know, and even going as far as, you know, sexualizing, you know, cousins and nieces, and saying inappropriate things like, you know, or if we weren't related, you know, I would, you know, but that wouldn't even stop them, because there has been cases where they have with their own flesh and blood, you know, with their own kids. So yeah, so and there's loads of families like that on the planet.
For sure.
A lot of high paedophilia, and we're seeing it all over. You know, we're seeing so many people in the government are being pulled down because they're being accused of paedophilia, and the royal family and Hollywood. Is because of the genetics. I'm not saying it because it's like I'm making an excuse for their behaviors. I'm just trying to bring awareness that, you know, these are the types. It's either because they've got entity attachments or because they are that bloodline, and that's how they are. That's just how they are.
I really do, like, I do sense it deeper than it does feel genetic.
Definitely.
Not the ones who have demonic attachment that can happen, or the ones who talk themselves. There's such a perversion, as you see here. There's the objectification and sadistic interest in the female on this planet. But then what you have on the flip side is a vilification of any male who tries to be the divine masculine. So if you're a male who is embodying the balance of the masculine and feminine, and is just, you know, showing a divine masculine behavior, you're seen as there's something wrong with you. Psychologists will say there's something wrong with you. You know, the medical industry says there's something wrong with you. You know, you're deficient in somehow. So and actually there's many extraterrestrials that have done studies on the male and female humans, but we just did the females, you know, using them as objects. But in the perversion of the male of the Terran, the selective breeding, and the selective breeding was put forward. Now this is from this was not only from a Pleiadian background, but also they talk about this on Meton, Proxima Centauri. The male human has been genetically manipulated through natural selection, breeding selection. So those male Terrans that breed, as you see here, in a animalistic way, using violence, not having any emotional connection to the female. There's no love here. This is just an act. Like, that was actually encouraged. It was actually bred into the Terran. And Eeka and I will go into this a little bit, the entropic breeding, which stamps the DNA of the children, unfortunately. But you're seeing it here in this video. So
how do you tell a male from a female?
Your point.
They got fun bags?
No, not from what
Do they
So a mother
Actually, EBE1 is a female. The one, well, was a.
And he just said it. EBE1 is a female, and it was a gray, I believe.
I know, but not even giving it a name. Like,
no,
it's
well, that's
really deep.
Yeah,
you know, they're seeing it as is like it's not a sentient being. They're just seeing it as an object. You know, it's just crazy.
this is the brainwashing. This is mind control. You're actually right now witnessing mind control. Now, this man who is the officer here, he is very uncomfortable. He's been beaten to death, basically, to say that. But you can see when he says EBE1, it hurts him inside, because he's not that kind of person. There's
you can tell it's not like them. Yeah.
There's a DNA inside his body. There's a consciousness inside his body, and you can see the way he kind of stares off into space. That's fighting. So what they do is, for those individuals like this man here, who are more consciously evolved as a humanoid, a more consciously evolved humanoid, they use fear tactics, intimidation, survival, lack, all those types of mind control to crack into this person's natural empathy. So you
Yeah.
create fractured consciousness. Ah,
Female, she
Draw
actually
the
got
other
it.
one. This is the gray.
Who?
Draw all three of them.
Do the girls have
Because I want to know which one I
What
want.
are the reptile ones
Which
look
one
like?
I'd fuck.
And then there's
we
another one, which is
interspecies,
actually a clone.
like,
These things
get
created
it
a
on.
clone, which looks something similar, but it
And
has
these
a
are
large
bad dudes?
pointy
They
nose.
cloned?
They have large pointy noses, but they pretty much.
And you said they live among us, huh?
There was another incident called the
what was it?
Hangar number 4 incident.
It's a good word.
Okay.
The Hangar number 4. And these right here are the tall whites, and
Yeah.
they're actually a clone created by the small grays.
Are they
They're like
Jewish?
servants.
What's the angry ones look like? The reptile ones that you were talking about.
Yeah, fucking bad. The ones that we're gonna be fighting.
Yeah,
Are they evil
the alien ones.
or not?
They look like reptiles, not friendly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This is a very bad drawing.
How tall are those motherfuckers right there?
These guys right here,
Yeah.
and they're all humanoids, so they both walk on 2 legs. They all walk on 2 legs.
Well, I don't want to fuck that thing.
And this thing right
The way
here,
this thing, and no, like the fucking first one, I'd probably fuck
this
this.
thing right here, this thing right here is huge. They're actually they're taller than us. They stand about 6 foot something on an average to 7 foot.
Are they like 230? What are
They're
they?
huge. I don't know, but
They're gonna fuck me
the
up.
one
Info
image
right
that I
now.
have seen of them, they're huge. Like they have a very strong build.
all right, we're gonna close that when we come back. Let people can. I have to. I'm actually getting like like nauseous. At this point, but we'll link. They can go on your channel. I'll put that link in the bottom. They can watch the rest of that video.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm like trying to find the words. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, if I tell you what, it's good job I went in that room because I
Oh.
would not have been able to hold my tongue, and I would have put them straight in their place. And I don't mean that in an arrogant ego or I'm bigger than them.
I mean,
Just,
they're
I'm-
they're psychopaths. They're psychopaths, and I feel that you
I
can.
don't like that behavior, so it triggers me, and it's not cool. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm just feeling it in my body. I'm like
yeah,
I haven't even watched. I have not watched the whole video, and I'm not going to watch any more of it. Ever.
yeah,
But I mean, it's just like, wow. I mean, the energy that I'm getting off these guys, and I'm not a psychologist. I'm not psychologically analyzing anyone. I'm actually reading them. So I'm reading energy.
yeah.
They're psychopaths, and I don't think it was
Mm.
trained into them. I actually believe they are.
Yeah, I think they are naturally that way, and you can always see the clues. I mean, it's like with my brothers and sisters when they were small.
Yes.
Before anything, the signs were there. So, for instance, I have to be careful because it's quite. They do things like they'd harm animals. I won't go into details of how. It was just lucky that I managed to get in the room at the time, and you should have seen the look of 3 brothers finding it highly amusing, laughing whilst this poor little animal is crying. And I was just like, I was like, am I in the Twilight Zone right now? What the heck is going on? Who is this family? You know, obviously I chose to be born into that family. It's another story.
Well, you're there to break it, but that's great.
Psychopathic behaviors. Yeah, if they can hurt an animal, which many people in my family have done horrific things to animals, that's the level of coldness. They have no empathy.
Well,
They find it hilarious and funny.
No, they don't. And that's what was been bred into people. It's an entropic breeding system. When you breed in entropy, and that was the goal of the Cabal and the extraterrestrials that have owned this planet. We're their livestock. The Terran was their livestock, and they were breeding an army. Basically, it reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Orcs. They're breeding orcs.
Yeah.
They were very successful. I mean, it's very, which is beyond, I guess, the question I have moving forward. No, it's not gonna be my point. I'm not gonna make anything to do with it, but I'm not sure what is gonna happen. How are they gonna genetically override this line of many Terrans that is regressive? So I don't know what's, I don't know, I guess I just don't know. But it's always in the back of my mind. It's like, okay, we're gonna have open contact, we're all gonna hang out, blah blah blah, whatever. But it's like, how are
Well,
you
you know,
gonna, you know?
yeah, I don't know on an energetic, I don't know on a DNA level. I mean, you know, because that's one of the, yeah, one of the popular blood groups on this planet is O. I
Right.
know O negative is rare. Well, it's actually not one of the rarest. Actually, there's loads of blood types that are rare. But you know, out of the O positive, O negative, I know that the O negative is rare. If you had to compare the two, but I know, and we can't be like, you know, oh no, we can't have no negative bloodlines coming onto this planet anymore, because then that's not fair either. That's like being you know, racist or something like that, you know. I just think on an energy level, because obviously the planet, the energies that are hitting the planet right now, obviously we're all going through ascension. So anything that is low vibrational, you know, let's just say, you know, not all O negative blood, those with O negative blood groups are bad. I've got a mix in my family. We've got O negative and O positive, probably more O positive than the O negative, but we have got O negative. And I can tell you now that the O positive ones are worse. Some of them are a lot worse than the O negatives. So, yeah, I mean, take what you want with that. I mean, O blood group period is reptiloid. The only difference is the O so the what is it, the rhesus factor, if I said that correctly, was actually implanted into a portion of the, I think, the O negative or O to make the O positive, but that was for going way back. What was that for? To obviously breed more, so that the O positives could breed with the existing species that existed on planet Earth going way back. That's kind of what I you know, I think some people have mentioned that as well. Elena Denan mentions that, so that kind of makes sense for breeding purposes. Thank you.
Of course, for sure. It was a breed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to be clear, because there's some absolutely amazing reptilian races. So it's not reptilian races.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Regressive. It was the regressive races that were bred here.
But what makes them more regressive compared to, say, like you've got three men and they've all got O negative, and one of them's lovely and the other two are just evil psychopaths. What makes them different? I don't know. It could be the way they were raised. It could be their soul essence as well has played a part. For instance, for me, you know, I am that blood group, you know, you obviously, you know, this type of family I was brought up in, but look at me, I'm nothing like them. But that's because of my soul isn't reptilian. My soul is actually Hyadian or Pleiadian, or, you know, it's a mix. Also Orion I am. So as we're all mixers. So I think that's, so yeah, so my conclusion is, I think it's those with the O group that has the you know, reptilian soul as well. So it's like double whammy. So they're going to be like in their true essence, the true 100% reptilian capacity in everything. So I think
this is one of the things. I mean, Linda Moulton Howe brings this up a lot. She's like, what's gonna, you know, what do they want? You know what I mean? Is it for, you know, the tall whites? And she goes into all that stuff. I said, you know, the thing is, and this is what I've heard, is that there is going to be a breeding program here. So what they're going to do is not only, I don't know, but I mean that through love. Like, you know, that's all, it's lovely. You know, and it's not a breeding like it was. This is going to be, they're going to try to clean that up, I believe, in those units. So the, you got Tau Ceti, Alpha Centauri, your Venusians, your Pleiadians, all of the less regressive genetic lines are going to be used here in love relationships, because it has to be that way, really. Well, it doesn't have to be, it's better, in order to clean up the Terran, right? They're also going to be taking Terran genetics, because I've done that myself. I've donated stuff upstairs. We're going to take Terran genetics to clean up, you know, to help us too. It makes a beautiful Pleiadian. When you mate a hell with a Terran, you get real nice. It's nice. So that's going to happen as well. So it's going to be, so the point of the matter is, you know, to mixed DNA to remove a lot of the regression in the Terran. It's going to die. I mean, if it keeps up this way, they're going to kill each other. I mean, it's not going to work. To
Yeah.
remove the negative regression of the Terran in the lines coming up. It's not going to be overnight, right? And then also to use the genetic material to improve the other. Not, I think improve is not the word. To kind of, you know, diversify.
Even it out.
Yeah,
Even it out.
diversify the other races. So yes, that is one of the plans to come up. So that's what they want to do with me, and that's why they want to keep me in this body too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I just
well,
want to quickly mention as well, not all reptilian souls are bad neither.
no,
We've got reptilians that have actually ascended past the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, even higher dimension, and they are the most protective warrior, but they are energy, but loving and just
for sure.
they've got that balance. So, and that's kind of where they need to go. They need to come along now. The lower regressive ones, they need to, because their ascension got blocked because of their DNA and because of all the bad acts they did and because of karma and because they're scared, you know, many reasons. But, you know, nothing should stay stagnant, you know, regardless what species you are, whether you're human or a reptile or, you know, avian, whatever, you know, we've all got to ascend. We've got to grow up.
Yes.
You know, we've got to raise in our vibration and move to the next level like a video game, you know, and they're stuck. So, you know, we can kind of help them as well. Of course, free will if they want. And if they don't, well, then it's their own journey. They're going to have to figure it out themselves. But yeah, we're talking about the very low density, you know, 3D, perhaps 4D dimensional reptilians. And like I say, not all of them are evil neither, you know. I just want to mention they're not all bad. There's many things that can make, you know, one worse than the other.
For sure. I mean, there are sort of the 4D reptilians that are part of the rough group that, again, because the play of DNA or what have you, they're also victims. They're victims.
They are, yeah.
It's like the Greys, just like, you know, the malevolent Greys, they were victims of their own stupidity. They thought, well, they were too smart for their own good. They were too smart for their own good, and they just messed themselves up big time. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but well, anyway, I want to thank Zoe for coming on today and finding and sharing that video with us. And we're gonna put the links below so that people want to watch the whole thing, they can on Zoe's channel. And this was a provocative and one. Like I said, whatever we say here is for people who are going through this. It's not for people who are how should we say, drinking the Kool-Aid and want to promote this kind of behavior. It's for the victims. I hate to use the word victims, but those of you who grew up with a different mindset and didn't fit in to the regressive aspects of Earth. And you know, a lot of us killed ourselves, I'll be honest, you know. And it was not easy for us growing up, as we all know. This was extremely. You know, you were stuck in a viper's den, basically, literally. So that's who we're talking.
Me being one perfect example. Like, clearly, I'm nothing like my family, and I literally felt like a deer caught in the headlights, no matter which direction I went. You know, and so so it's to help bring awareness, to help you to understand, you know, what really is going on a deeper level, and also don't feel bad, you know. Not all of us are always like our family neither, you know. A lot of us on a contract level, on a soul level, was deliberately born into those families to try and, you know, clear up and break up the cycles and things like that. But yeah.
And of course, as we always tell our viewers, use your inner discernment and resonance. What resonates with you, not what someone tells you, not what someone shows you, but what is resonating within you. That is your true self. That is what you need to do, right? That's part of the problem. Don't listen to other people. People need to stop doing that. Stop listening to experts. Stop listening to gurus. Use but when you hear them speak, use what resonates inside you. And that's how we're going to take down the patriarchy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. You know, it's time to use our logical thinking. It's time to, you know, be conscious and find out and just really see the deeper meaning behind everything, because that's what we all need. It's all about understanding. We've not been educated, and so we're helping to bring awareness, information, education on, you know, on these things and stuff, so we can you know, just understand and come together as one and transmute. And there was another word as well. But yeah, just to kind of come together really, because we're all victims on some level. All of us are, whether you believe that or not, we are. You know, and I don't mean to say that to, you know, to make you feel powerless, because,
Right.
you know, it helps us grow. It's really helped me change in more ways than one. And in fact, I don't see myself as a victim anymore. I just like, you know, I'm just, if it wasn't for what I went through, I wouldn't be who I am today. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to get on the floor and kiss them like, oh, thank you. You know, but you know what I mean? But it's about understanding. It's about perspective, understanding, and I mean, you know, that's all I'm going to say really. But
well, maybe the word is victimized. You've been victimized. Right?
yeah, victimized. That's it. Because we
Whether
don't
you
want to be
walk
sticking
away
labels
as
or
a
that energy
victim
on
and
us.
stuff, you're right, exactly. Yeah.
We don't want to be attracting more things into our lives to make us feel
Right.
more like a victim. So yeah.
That's for sure. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for all the hard work you're doing. And
You too. You too.
thank all of our viewers, and you know, we're all together on this is you know, healing the earth, healing ourselves, you know, getting ready for the good stuff that's to come, you know.
Integrating, that was the word I wanted to get. Yeah.
So we always say, you know, much abundance. We wish all of our viewers much abundance, much happiness, much bliss. All right. So see you guys.
Yeah.